Today we're here to talk about the Contemporary Science Practice in Schools project and to showcase for you the number of resources that have been created here at Deakin University. The resources that have been generated in this package were inspired through the REMSTEP project. So REMSTEP stands for Reconceptualising Maths and Science Practice in Teacher Education. And we were given some funding through this project to really think about what do we want to do with our pre-service teachers to have them think differently about what it means to be a great science teacher in a classroom into the future. So we really wanted to have them engage with contemporary ideas and therefore our scientists here at Deakin. So the project came about through a series of putting together scientists, teachers and pre-service teachers and then synthesising models and strategies for doing this to have emerged these fabulous resources. And it made sense as we collected these resources to house them in one place and to make them accessible and available to any teacher anywhere to take up and use.
Yeah, I've been working in this area as a teacher and as a science educator for quite a long time, and I became quite interested in the way that science is represented in the classroom. One of the difficulties always with science teaching is that it tends to deal with knowledge that's very much established and out of textbooks, and talks about knowledge rather than the practice of scientists. And I think there's a big interest, a big move in science education to represent the practice of scientists, how they go about their experimentation, their investigation, the relevance of that for social issues. And associated with that, there's been a lot of interest in getting scientists to interact with students in the classroom.
Contemporary Science Practice in Schools resources is something very new and has a different pedagogical approach. With other online resources we use, there's simulations and there's worksheets and there's activities, but it doesn't necessarily inspire students as much as the Contemporary Science Practice in Schools resources does.
So this resource was intended to find ways to have our scientists communicate their contemporary science in ways that schools could access and use it. So there are some other great resources out there that showcase what's happening in scientists' lives and in their research, but these resources aren't linked to the curriculum and they don't provide teachers with activities about how to engage their students in this science. And you can
The teachers that actually use the resources loved a number of things about these contemporary science resources. They were able to contextualise the science knowledge and understandings that they actually had as part of the curriculum with scientists' real practices, their experiments, the way that they conduct science.
I also like the fact that there's curriculum links in each of the subsections, so as a teacher you can really see what you're getting straight away, and it makes it a lot easier to find and navigate the resource.
To be able to engage with scientists' research, their research papers. These things are very difficult for teachers to access. The resources have teacher worksheets, teacher ideas, and also spaces for students to engage in.
The students like the fact that they can learn at their own pace, choose where they want to go, and it encourages them to follow their interests as well.
Students loved the fact that there were a range of activities in these resources too, that they were able to engage with the scientists with various activities, whether it was role plays or different pedagogical experiences, and it kept them interested.
It links in with scientists, what is actually happening in the field, with a range of different scientific adventures that are happening. It captures the scientist's passion. They can see the real life science coming into the classroom, the doing of science, the thinking of science, that science isn't always known, and that's something that inspires our students.
As a researcher, I've also taught for 20 years in the classroom. So as an experienced teacher and understanding how difficult it is to provide contextual experiences for students, these contemporary resources provided the context. It engaged students with scientists and their practices and their science inquiry skills. So these, often you can't find resources that give you all of these things in one place.
Yes, I definitely recommend this resource to other teachers. At our school, we're actually introducing an elective at Year 9 based around this resource. So this resource will be in a semester of work, so students can work at their own pace, they can link in with real scientists' work, they can follow the inquiry process to really deepen their understanding of science in the classroom.
If you're interested in delivering a science program to your students that addresses contemporary science issues, science that's being conducted here in Victoria with people that look like everyday people who are actually scientists and doing some pretty amazing stuff, as well as engaging with some pretty high-level thinking, then these resources are for you. But we're hoping to produce resources that showcase great science in engaging, useful, creative and critical ways for our students, and to change the way that students can think about science, to allow them to realise that science is a bit of a mystery. It's a challenge on a daily basis. It's not something that's known and understandable and just needs to be learned from a textbook. So through that process, we're hoping to have our students really think about the fabulous opportunities in a science career.